Recently, I got a request from a user where they wanted to use the chatbot as a data entry tool. So basically, they wanted the employees to use the chatbot, whether it's a WhatsApp or a Messenger or whatever, and use it to enter data and add those users as contacts within the bot interface. So let me just show a brief flow of how this can be done. Let me start off by creating a data input field. Okay, let me move guys here. So we have a data input field where we collect basic information like first name of the user, the last name, and then we collect the mobile number, email ID, and let's say some random data like let's say their passport number as well. So we are going to store all this information into newly created custom fields. So we will not be storing all this information in the built-in custom fields. For example, we already have a built-in system field for name, right? That is first name, which is first name. But if you use this system field, what happens is it will actually replace your data, right? So let's say my name is Deepak, last name is Kumar. So when I'm trying to enter the data from the, let's say the data entry project, now what will happen is, let's say I'm using some other name, uploading some other name, John Doe, then my data will get replaced with this. So that's why we are not going to use the system fields, because that is my data. What I'm done is I've created new custom fields. So I just created a new custom field called first underscore name, and then another scenario like last underscore name, and so on. So mobile number, I created as a phone. The reply type can be same, it can be a phone, so that is totally fine. And we have the ability to store the number into a different custom field, and that's what we are doing right now. So this way my mobile number will not get replaced with what I am entering into the system. And let's say enter the email ID and then passport number again. Each of them are unique and new custom fields. So that is step number one. So step number two is we are going to use external API block to send data into the system. So this platform has a robust API, and you can actually create users using the API. So you can see this is the endpoint, and if we actually look at the API documentation and you go to users, this is what we'll be looking at, post users, right? So you see here it says create a new SMS or WhatsApp, and it also gives you the sample format of how the data should be sent. So you just need to copy this JSON format, come here and put it in the body, and of course we'll be replacing all these values, which I'll show shortly. And once that's done, that's it. So once that user enters the data, it goes into the API block, and then a new contact is created, right? So let me, as you can see, they use how do I put this? So we first collect the first name, the last name, mobile number, email ID, and passport. Each of them is a get user data block, right? And reply type, you choose it accordingly. For example, for email, it's better you choose it as email. So this way, even if there is any format error, like they don't add the domain properly or the add symbol is missing, whatever, so the validation will happen because the system has a built-in validation. So it's suggested to use the relevant reply type itself. And same thing with mobile number as well. If you are entering a mobile number, make sure that you choose it as phone, but remember, don't use the system field, use your own custom field here, right? So once this is done, let's come to the external API request block. So to do this, what we are going to do is we are going to actually test first using the API documentation itself. So you go to the API doc of your own brand, click on authorize. So you need to enter the API key here. So let's just go back into settings. Integrations, and then you have the API access token. So you just copy this, come back and put it authorize, and that's it. So right now your API, the API document is connected to your platform. So any operations that you execute here, it will actually reflect on your bot account, right? And which is actually good because it helps us to test. So now, how are we going to test this? So you can see, let me again, you see this try it out button here, right? So click on it, and you can see that the options are all changed and all that stuff. So now we can just play around with this thing. So let me test by like adding a number. So do remember, for the contact, we can only add a SMS or a WhatsApp contact right now via API, and it has to have a mobile number, obviously, right? Because it's a SMS or WhatsApp, so mobile number is mandatory. So let's now add some dummy numbers to test how this works. Let me say 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1, and then here it says first name is Jeevan, second one let's put it as Gandhi. So gender, it's up to you. You can keep it or you can just remove it off. Let me just remove it. And these are the built-in actions that you can do. So using one API call, you can do multiple actions here. So you can send a flow once the user is added, or you can add a tag for a particular contact, or you want to set some custom fields, you can do that. So right now what I'm going to do is I will remove this part. I don't want to send a flow, so I'll just delete this for now. So there will be add tag, and there will be set custom field, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the tag name as added by what was it, added by Deepak. Okay, so this is the tag, so that we can identify all the contacts that has been added by the particular employee. So in this case Deepak. So it's entirely up to you how you want to set up the tags. You can make it by employee ID, employee name, whatever it is. At the end of the day, it's all up to you how you're going to identify the contacts that has been uploaded by a specific employee. That's it. So I just put the tag like this, and then we have the set field value. So now what we are going to do is we are going to change the thing. So let's go back to the flow. Let's look at what are the data points we have collected here. So we have the first name, we have the last name, we have the mobile number, email ID, and passport number. So there are 5 custom fields, 5 data points that are being collected. So we need to make sure that those 5 points are being sent, right? So you have the first name and last name here. That's good. Then and we have the mobile number also. So we have 3 data points already. So now we need the email ID. We need to send the email ID, and we need to send the passport number, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just remove this placeholder. Just type passport number, for example. Let's say I'm just going to type some random numbers here, and because I need to add one more field, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to add a comma and then paste it again. So now this is going to be email, and let's say g1@gmail.com. So now these are the data that we need to send into the system, right? So what I'm going to do is click on execute. Okay, now before doing this, let's do one thing. Let's go to contacts. So here you can see there is no contact by the name of Jeevan. Okay, there is one. This was a test I had done, so I'll just delete this. So we don't have any contact, right? So now let's execute this test request, and these are the curl data points that we can use. We will come to that, and this is the response. So you can see here this thing is a success. The contact has been created, it's true, and this is the contact ID. Do remember for SMS and WhatsApp channels, the contact ID is typically the phone number of the user. So this is the phone number we had entered in the beginning or in the example, and it's the same contact ID that's showing up here, right? Now let's go to the contacts page. Let's just refresh this. You can see here it has come up, right? And you can see the source is API. So because we are actually firing it via API, that's why it shows up as API. And you can open the contact and see the other fields as well. Yeah. So as you can see here, the name, full name is Jeevan Gandhi, that one I entered, and the phone number is this thing, and the tags added by Deepak. But then you can see here the email ID is not populated. So the email is not populated. So what we'll do is, it means I use the wrong custom field to send the information. That's the simple logic there. Let's search for okay. Now one more thing is, because we are actually trying it out through the API documentation, so sometimes these things might have missed. So for example, you can see here the custom fields with value, there's nothing here, but then we do know that the information should have been there, right? And again, the phone number is actually populated here, right? So, and this is the contact ID. So now let's actually build the block, right? Okay, so now let's build the API request block properly, right? So let's take data from here. So remember the one that we tested within the API documentation, right? This is going to help us, and this is one of the reasons why we tested. So you can see here the request URL. So you just copy this entire URL here. You can see API/users, that's the endpoint. So come here, it's going to be a post request and API/users, right? And then you need to add headers, and we need to add the authentication key, right? Like the API key. So to get the key value for that is parameter name, is you just click on authorize here, and you see this X access token, right? So you just copy this. You can see here name X access token and in header. So it actually gives you a clue. So copy this, come back here, you add X access token, and within the API block you don't have to copy paste the API key, right? Like every time you don't want to go come back and go. So the platform has a shortcut. So it's not autofill, it doesn't autofill automatically like other things, as you can see here. So you need to type this here. So it's going to be double braces API_KEY and double braces, close it, right? So now let's say tomorrow, for whatever reason, security reasons, you are regenerating the API key, you don't have to come here and do it again. So this is like automated, it automatically gets updated there. Now we are going to set it in the body. So here what we are going to do is we just copy the JSON response that we got, right? So like, the JSON response example value that given, right? The model. So you just copy this entire thing, whatever you want. So we are going to add a tag, we are going to send to custom fields and all that stuff. You copy all this information, you come here and you paste it, right? So let's do one thing. I will actually create a new API block so that it's easier to follow. When I say API, I'm talking about external API request, right? So let's do all this thing again. Like I'll just put post, and then where is it? Yeah, this is the one, the request URL, and then I'm going to add a header here, and for that parameter name I'm going to come to the document again, click on authorize, and copy this, put it here, and then the value is going to be double braces API_KEY double braces. Oh, got Got it? So let's just save this, because sometimes if you just close it, by default whatever you have added will go off. So it's better you save it once in a while. Now let's add the body. So we are going to do a JSON thing, because as you saw in the sample here, the model that we are going to use is a JSON model, right? So let's just copy the entire stuff again. Let's come to click on JSON, and you can see here, enter your JSON. So we'll just copy paste this there. Now let's replace all these things with the dynamic values, because these are hard coded. For testing purpose we did, but then for every contact that gets added we need to be hard coded, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll just remove this, and then I will enter the custom field that I created for this. So for example, for phone I created AT_phone. So for first name it's AT_first name, right? And let's say for last name it's AT_last name, right? And tag, you just keep it whatever you want. Like I said, for now let's just continue with added by Deepak, but make sure that you already added this tag in the UI. So for example, you come to flows, click on tags, and then add tag, right? So you enter whatever you want, and then you'll be able to use the tag here, right? Just enter this name. Action, like I said, we are going to set field value, and the field name is going to be passport number, and the value is going to be AAT_passport number. Yeah, I already created that. And then we have the email, so we are going to populate the email as well, remember. So we'll just replace this with AAT_email. Remember, there will be two email custom fields, right? Like for example, if you type this and start typing email, there will be the first one is going to be the default one. Don't choose that. Like I said, it will overwrite the customer email with your email, whatever is there in your bot account. So make sure that whatever is the custom field you created for this specific case, use that, right? And then you just make sure everything is closed. So what we can do is you can just copy the entire stuff. Let's go to validate the JSON thing. So let's go to JSON Lint. So this is the tool, online tool I use a lot. It helps you to validate, to find whether the data, JSON data is correct or not. So I'm just going to copy paste this. Let me just drag myself to a little bit. Click on validate JSON. You can see JSON is valid. So which means all the closing brackets, square brackets, everything is fine. That's good. So let's come here. What else? Yeah, you can do one more thing. You can, so as you can see in the API doc, the sample, right? In the response, you're actually getting back the contact ID. You're seeing this, right? So what we can do is we can actually map this contact ID as well for reference, and we can store it maybe in a Google Sheet or just for reference purpose or something. So what we'll do is, let's do that. Let's click on JSON response mapping. Let's just add. Let's first test. Let's test this one. So let's take this response body, right? So let's just copy this. Let's use one more tool to identify the path. So this one, what you saw is JSON Lint. This is for validation, to check the validation of JSON. So another tool that I typically use is JSON Pathfinder. So what it does is it gives you the path of the particular object that you want to use. So for example, you want to get this one, right? This ID. So you can see here it's under data, under ID. So you can see here, you click on this. So this is what you want. Right? So you just copy this. Now go back to your response mapping. Under JSON path, just copy this and replace this X with $. So it's going to be $.data.id. And you can just, like I assume you would have already created one thing. Let's just, I don't know, maybe I'll just use some random demo thing demo number. So I'm just storing this value under demo number. Got it? So this is response mapping. So basically what happens is in the body, whatever data you are adding the body, it will be sent to the request URL to this API endpoint. And once if the data is valid and everything works fine, so the response the API sends back, right? That data we can actually capture and we are storing it here. So what we are going to do is, actually let me do it here because this is my live blog. So just replace that with dollar and here number, demo underscore number, right? Save. So in every request, API calls and all that stuff, this is a new fun feature that has been added. We have this success or failure thing. So if the system identifies it as a success, then you can do one step. If it's a failure, you can do another step. So what we are going to do is we are going to tag the success thing like a condition. We have created a block. This is just for reference. I mean, there's no, you can just create the flow however way you want after this thing. Contact ID is demo underscore number. So now it will print. Right? And if you want to add new contact, like the next one. So if it's a failure, for whatever reasons it is failed, it will just say contact not added, check error logs. Like again, it's entirely up to you how to do this thing. So the actual logic of this thing is this external API request and the get user data. These are the two things. These other two blocks, it's entirely up to you how you do that. Let me just publish this. So now, okay, let's preview this. What I'm going to do is this you can preview using any of the channels that you're connected. Messenger, WhatsApp, Insta, Telegram, web chat, whatever you want. So let me just go with web chat for now. Again, let me drag myself to the side. Okay, first name. Sanjay. What is the last name? Good. Well. Enter the mobile number. So let's just put the mobile number 9199988871. Again, make sure that the number is valid. I'm just entering some random numbers here. Sanjay@gmail.com. Let's show it. I'm not adding dot. I'm just adding gmail.com. See, you see here, right? You have entered is not a valid email, and this is the reason why we need to select the specific reply type, like for mobile and email particularly. So you can see here the reply type is email. So whenever I'm making this error, it actually throws back a validation saying like you have made a mistake, so correct it. So I'm just coming back here, gmail.com, enter. Now enter your passport number. Let's again some random chunk for now I'm giving. See here, new contact added successfully. It has also given me the contact ID. And remember, because I said this is a SMS or WhatsApp contact, whatever is the phone number you are adding, that's what will be showing as the contact ID. You can see this is the phone number I added, and that's the contact ID here. Now let's go and check our contacts page. You can see here Sanjay Urpa. You click on it. You can see here all the data that has been added. Why did it miss? I think I missed the email part, right? Yes, it should have been just email. This was a mistake. That's why it didn't get updated here. But now if you fire this, it will work. But for now, I'll just leave it like that. You can see here the phone number, and then we have the email. Yeah, because it's, you can see here, it's instead of updating the system field, it updated as a new custom field. But now I updated the flow, so from next time it will get updated here. And this is a passport number, right? And you can remember we also added a tag So added by Deepak. So like I said earlier, you can also add flows. You like after a new user is added, you can maybe trigger a flow to the user. Just add the send flow ID action, right? And that's available in the documents. You can just check that under dynamic content. That's pretty much it. So this is how you add a new user. In fact, we actually explored a lot of content in this. Like for example, how do we add a new user using an API? And then the different functionalities within the API block itself, and then different tools like JSON Validator, JSON Pathfinder, and so on. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. Bye.